Hello, everyone, and welcome to our channel, The BookMind. I'm Sarah.
And I'm David. Today, we're diving deep into the monumental world of David Goggins, the self-proclaimed toughest man alive. You might have heard his name, maybe perhaps seen a clip, one of those intense workout videos, or caught bits of his, incredible story.
Right.
But trust me, his journey goes way, way beyond the surface.
Yeah.
It really pushes the very definition of human endurance and mental fortitude in ways that are, frankly, almost unbelievable.
Yeah.
So our mission today really is to explore this extraordinary life and the really actionable principles from his groundbreaking book, Can't Hurt Me. We're looking at the summaries, the analysis, the sources we've got.
Right.
Think of this deep dive as your essential shortcut, a way to truly understand this remarkable individual, and maybe more importantly, a kind of blueprint for how you might start tapping into your own often hidden, untapped potential.
What's truly compelling here, I think, right from the outset, is just the immediate impact of Goggins' persona. He's not just some figure of extreme physical prowess, right, or just someone who's mentally tough. He seems to embody something much more universal, that raw, almost visceral human drive to overcome adversity, no matter how, daunting it seems.
Totally.
And diving into these sources, like you said, our aim isn't just to marvel at what he's done. You kind of can't help it sometimes.
Right.
Instead, we're really looking to uncover a practical, almost like battle-tested blueprint for cultivating mental resilience.
Okay.
The foundational idea, really, it echoes back centuries. Heraclitus, 5th century BC, a philosopher who talked about this rare kind of warrior, the one who actually decides the battle's outcome.
Oh, interesting connection.
Yeah, and Goggins' incredible journey, from this deeply traumatic past to becoming that very warrior. It strongly suggests that while maybe not everyone chooses it, we are all, in theory, eligible to walk that path, to forge that warrior within ourselves.
Yeah.
The unstoppable David Goggins, more than just a title.
The world's toughest man alive.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not just a bold claim, is it? It's a title that absolutely demands an explanation.
It really does.
It just begs the question, why?
Yeah.
Why does he hold that title? What exactly has he done to earn such an extreme, almost, mythical moniker? We're not talking about, casually pushing limits in the gym or even doing a tough marathon. We're talking feats that most people, definitely myself included, would consider utterly impossible, frankly, borderline self-destructive.
And that's a crucial question because understanding that title is really central to understanding Goggins himself. If we kind of zoom out a bit, that Heraclitus quote really does set the philosophical stage for his whole mindset. Heraclitus wasn't just talking about, physical combat. He was talking about the human spirit pushed to its absolute limit in extremis.
Right.
He said, out of every 100 men in war, 10 shouldn't even be there. 80 are basically just targets. They're just there to die.
Grim.
Very. 9 are the true fighters, essential for the battle's progress. But there's only one, the warrior. The one who dictates the outcome, who saves others, often brings them back from the brink.
Wow, just one.
Just one. And Goggins internalizes this completely. He believes that from the moment we take our first breath, we are eligible to become that one warrior. But tragically, most of us just never choose that intensely difficult path.
But he did.
He did, very consciously, meticulously, and agonizingly made that choice. He committed to becoming that one warrior.
Yeah.
And in doing so, demonstrated the immense, often unrealized potential that lies dormant within, almost all of us.
And he didn't just talk about that warrior mindset, did he?
Yeah.
He put it to the absolute, the ultimate test. Let's delve into some of these feats, these illustrative examples of endurance and resilience that really underscore his title.
Let's do it.
First up, the world record for pull-ups. Now, this wasn't just about doing a lot of pull-ups. His ambition was huge. Break the existing record, over 4,000 pull-ups. And get this, he tried this after major surgery.
Yeah.
It's beyond mind-boggling. It honestly sounds like something from a comic book.
It really does. And what's truly insightful here isn't just the ambition, which is, immense. It's the journey through his failures, which I'd argue are just as instructive, maybe even more so, than the eventual success.
Okay, how so?
Well, his first attempt to break that record, it hit a major snag surprisingly early, maybe around 1,000 to 1,500 pull-ups in. He found the specific bar he was using was totally different from his practice bar. Yeah, it was loose, it was thicker. It made getting a proper, secure grip almost impossible. So he quickly exhausted himself, not just physically, but mentally, right? constantly fighting the instability of the damn bar.
Right, that drains you.
Totally. After about 2,500 pull-ups, his hands were just completely dead. Couldn't even lift them, let alone grip. So he failed that first attempt. But instead of being defeated, he was immediately, almost obsessively determined to try again in a few months. That initial failure just, sharpened his resolve.
That's a crucial point, though, isn't it? It's not just the physical act. It's the mental fortitude not to let that first failure completely derail him. He came back even more determined.
Yes, absolutely. And the second attempt was, well, it was even more harrowing. Almost a descent into pure body horror, honestly.
Oh, boy.
Things went from bad to worse after the first 1,000 pull-ups. Blisters started forming really rapidly on his hands, then bursting, leading to, significant bloody weeping. But he didn't stop. He pushed through that agonizing pain, even as blood was literally oozing from his hands, staining his gloves. His mother, others watching him, they grew really concerned.
I bet.
When doctors finally examined his hands, carefully peeling back the gloves and bandages, his skin literally came off with them.
No way.
Yeah, it was that severe, a really stark visual of his body just breaking down. And then he was diagnosed with rhabdomyolysis.
Right, you mentioned that before. That's the muscle breakdown.
Exactly. For anyone unfamiliar, it's a really serious condition. Damaged muscle fibers leak into the bloodstream, which can severely damage the kidneys. If it's untreated, it can lead to kidney failure or even death. It's basically your body trying to poison itself from the inside out because of the extreme exertion.
Okay, just think about that for a moment. A doctor tells you that you could literally die, that your body is breaking down, leaking its contents into your blood. Most rational people would stop immediately. Call it a day, maybe call it a career, right?
Right, absolutely.
But Goggins, the sources really emphasize his sheer defiance. He continued, despite the doctor's explicit warnings, despite the immense life-threatening pain, what psychological mechanism allows a person to just disregard such fundamental self-preservation instincts?
This is where we really see Goggins's governor being overridden, long before he even maybe articulated the concept himself. Despite getting injections for the pain, despite being acutely aware of the risk, he continued. He did eventually run out of steam, around 2018 pull-ups on that attempt.
Still an insane number.
Still insane, but a failure by his standard. Yet again, he refused to acknowledge ultimate defeat. Just a few weeks later, with a body that surely hadn't fully recovered, he made a third attempt.
Unbelievable.
By this point, though, something had changed. His hands had adapted. They'd built these thick, almost leathery calluses from all the previous torture.
The body adapting.
Exactly. This physical adaptation, this biological response to stress, was a direct parallel to the mental toughness he was simultaneously forging, and that allowed him to finally achieve the world record. So what does this tell you about pushing through physical limits?
Yeah.
It's not just about raw, brute strength. It's about how the body and mind adapt to sustained, intentional discomfort, and a profound refusal to see defeat as the final word. It's a deliberate process, pushing the psychological boundaries of pain.
It really does put everyday struggles into a stark perspective, doesn't it? And it wasn't just pull-ups, right? You mentioned he's completed over 70 ultra-endurance races, including the infamous Badwater ultramarathon.
That's right.
For those who aren't familiar, Badwater is routinely called one of the toughest foot races on Earth. Takes place in Death Valley, summer temperatures, just lethal levels. The sheer volume and intensity of these races are just staggering.
Indeed. And the story of how he even qualified for Badwater is particularly illuminating. It's like a microcosm of his entire philosophy. To qualify, he had to complete a 100-mile race. And his approach to that qualifier was, well, frankly, reckless by any conventional standard.
How so?
He signed up just 4 days beforehand. 4 days, with absolutely zero specific preparation for a 100-mile race.
Get out.
Seriously. He even did a heavy leg workout the day before the race, something any experienced ultra runner would just call pure madness.
Wow.
He had no proper nutrition plan, no specialized training, he just went. And he describes it as the toughest race of his life, filled with an array of horrific, almost unbelievable experiences.
Like what?
His legs fractured during the race.
Fractured? As in broken bones?
Yeah, stress fractures likely. They were bleeding profusely. He literally taped them together with duct tape, just wrapped them up tight to try and keep them stable, maybe numb the pain somehow.
My God.
He experienced blood in his urine and feces, a grim condition he calls cheating bricks. a really stark term for his body just expelling everything, a sign of extreme internal breakdown.
Cheating bricks.
Ugh.
Wow.
By 50 or 60 miles, his energy was completely, utterly depleted, just gone.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, though. Most people would have quit. Probably would have needed medical extraction long before reaching that point. Fractured legs, bleeding internally and externally, passing blood, utter exhaustion, probably hallucinations. You have to ask why. Why did he continue? What compelled him at such a fundamental level to keep moving forward when every single biological instinct must have been screaming at him to stop?
This is the crux of it, isn't it? This is the Goggins philosophy in action. He was running that race, partly, to fundraise for fallen fellow soldiers, which definitely provided a powerful external why.
Okay, that's a strong
A
motivator.
very strong motivator. But even more than that, it was an intensely internal battle, a fight against his own perceived limits, against the weakness he felt he carried from his past. He completed that 100-mile race despite being, essentially, at the precipice of death. It's a testament to an almost superhuman internal drive.
Correct.
Imagine being in that state. The pain, the physical degradation, the mental fog. What kind of internal dialogue, what profound inner commitment must be at play to choose, actively choose, to keep pushing through that agony?
It's hard to fathom.
It highlights this profound, almost terrifying disconnect between what our bodies tell us is possible and what our minds can actually be trained to endure. It's like a redefinition of the pain threshold itself.
And if enduring multiple world record attempts and these insane ultra-endurance races weren't enough,
Yeah.
let's talk about elite military training. Completing just one of these highly selective, brutally difficult programs is an achievement for the ages, right?
Absolutely. A lifetime achievement for most who manage it.
Goggins, however, completed 3 of the toughest elite military trainings in the world. 3.
His achievements here are truly unprecedented, almost beyond belief, really. He went through Navy SEAL training not once, not twice, but 3 times.
3 times. Just let that sink in.
Most people fail once and are psychologically, physically, emotionally broken. They never return. He also completed U.S. Army Ranger School and Air Force Tactical Air Control Party, or TACP, training.
Wow.
And to put the SEAL training in perspective, let's just focus on Hell Week. It's this period of literal, extreme psychological and physical torture, designed specifically to make candidates quit.
Infamous.
Exactly. Only about 25% of candidates, the absolute elite of the elite, survive it. During Hell Week, candidates endure minimal sleep, sometimes just 4 hours total, across the entire 5.5-day period.
4 hours total.
Total. They face constant physical and mental stress, being exposed to freezing cold water, carrying heavy books for miles, paddling, swimming in the frigid ocean. It's designed to strip away everything but your absolute will to survive and persevere.
It's legendary for a reason. It's designed to break you, mentally and physically, in every conceivable way. And Goggins went through it 3 times.
Yeah.
That's a level of either masochism or resilience that is almost impossible to comprehend.
It really is. On his first attempt at Hell Week, he got pneumonia. The extreme cold, the constant inescapable exposure to water, getting into his nose and mouth, caused severe respiratory issues. He was medically pulled from training.
Okay, understandable.
On his second attempt, he sustained a severe leg injury. It swelled up like a balloon, caused immense pain, risked permanent damage. Again, doctors had to remove him.
Right.
Which raises this incredibly important question, the core Goggins question, really. Why go back again? After being pulled out twice for such debilitating, life-threatening conditions, what deeper drive fuels that level of persistence?
Yeah, what
It's his third time. Finally, he completed it. So, if we connect this to the bigger picture, these aren't just physical accomplishments, right? Not just demonstrations of brute force. They are a profound testament to an extraordinary, deliberate mental transformation, a meticulous and painful forging of an unbreakable will, honed through repeated failures and this unyielding commitment to self-mastery. 2, from trauma to triumph, the genesis of a warrior.
So, okay, after hearing all of that, it really forces us to ask, what does this all mean? How does a person become this seemingly unbreakable force, this warrior who could just push past what most of us consider the absolute limits of human endurance, sanity, even physical capacity? It's almost tempting, isn't it?
Yeah.
To think someone like Goggins must have just been born with some inherent superhuman strength or advantage, some kind of genetic predisposition for greatness.
Yeah, that's the easy assumption.
But our sources reveal this stark, profoundly painful contrast. David Goggins was absolutely not born a warrior. His childhood was not just challenging, it was deeply, profoundly traumatic. A crucible of suffering that would honestly crush most people.
This is, and I don't think it's an exaggeration, the most crucial part of his story, because it completely refutes any idea that he was somehow predestined for this path. His early life was indeed a crucible of suffering.
Right.
While it might have looked okay from the outside, his father owned a popular roller skating rink, seemed relatively successful. The hidden reality was horrific.
How so?
His father was, by all accounts, just an evil man, deeply involved in drugs, prostitution, and he subjected David, his brother, and his mother to relentless, severe physical and mental abuse.
Oh, God.
Beatings were common, terrifying, often drawing blood, leaving visible marks that lasted for weeks. Young David was frequently forced to miss school just to hide these injuries from others, bearing the shame and fear in silence, the constant violence, the psychological torment, the unpredictability. It just created this deeply unstable and terrifying environment.
Horrible.
Eventually, his mother, with immense courage, managed to escape that horrifying situation, taking young David with her. But this separation, while obviously a relief, didn't just erase the deep scars.
That sounds like a childhood designed not to build someone up, but to systematically crush their spirit, to instill fear, erode any sense of self-worth. What were the lasting psychological effects of starting life like that?
Exactly. This prolonged traumatic upbringing had profound, debilitating effects on David well into his early adult years. He describes himself back then as mentally weak, struggling terribly with a severe stutter, asthma that often left him gasping for air, and just cripplingly low self-confidence.
Wow.
His academic focus was poor, which makes sense given the constant fear and instability of his childhood, and he felt this deep, pervasive sense of directionlessness. By age 22, the emotional toll really manifested physically. He'd gained significant weight, reaching a staggering 136 kilograms. That's about 300 pounds.
300 pounds.
He was working this deeply menial, soul-crushing pest control job from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., a literal graveyard shift.
Ugh.
He felt utterly stuck, no purpose, ironically literally killing bugs for a living and feeling about as insignificant as the creatures he was exterminating. It was a life just devoid of agency or hope.
That's a powerfully bleak image. Just deeply saddening. From that point of utter despair, what was the turning point? How did this overweight, directionless young man, burdened by so much trauma, transform into the toughest man alive? It feels like such an astronomical leap.
The source material highlights this truly pivotal, almost mythic moment. One night, he's sitting alone on the toilet, often a place of solitude and weird reflection.
Yeah.
He overhears a television show playing in the background. The voice on the TV is talking about Navy SEAL training, describing it as the toughest, most elite training in the entire world. He's immediately captivated. He got up, watched the rest of the show, and something just clicked. That was the trigger, the spark in the abyss. Right then, 24 years old, weighing 136 kilograms, he made the audacious, seemingly impossible decision. He would become a Navy SEAL.
Wow. Just like that.
Just like that. But this was a monumental task, right? It required him to lose over 50 kilograms. That's 110 pounds in a very short amount of time just to even qualify, just to meet the basic standards.
That alone sounds impossible.
Totally. When he first started calling Navy recruiters, explaining his situation, 24, 300 pounds, wants to be a SEAL, many just laughed. Flat out told him he'd never make it, which probably just reinforced his own deep-seated insecurities.
Ouch.
But then, almost miraculously, he found one recruiter, one guy who, against all odds and common sense, believed in him, saw something flicker in his voice maybe and gave him a chance. This recruiter told him, okay, you need to get down to at least 84 kilograms, 185 pounds to meet the height-to-weight requirement.
That's an astonishing amount of weight to lose in such a compressed time frame just to get your foot in the door. It sounds physically impossible for most people.
It absolutely is. The sources detail how he managed it. He lost that staggering 50 kilograms in just 3 months.
3 months. How?
Through an incredibly drastic, punishing, disciplined regimen, extreme diet, relentless exercise. He literally woke up at 4 a.m. every single day, ate just one meal a day, usually just chicken and vegetables. Spent hours working out in the gym, often doing things like just dragging his own body weight across the floor. Pure grit.
Unbelievable discipline.
It really is. And this isn't just a story about physical training, right? It's a profound testament to a complete mental overhaul. From a point of utter despair, a decision to entirely redefine himself, his identity, his capabilities, against seemingly insurmountable biological and psychological odds. It was like an act of radical self-creation. 3. The three pillars of Goggins' unstoppable mindset.
What an incredible transformation story.
Yeah.
It just underscores that all the physical achievements we've talked about, as extraordinary as they are ultimately a byproduct of profound, almost alchemical mental shift. Goggins himself says you can change your life in basically three fundamental ways: through rigorous studying, through disciplined habit formation, or by deeply hearing someone's story.
Right.
And through his story, he distills three absolutely crucial lessons, three pillars that helped him become that warrior we've explored. And these aren't just for elite athletes, right? These are practical tools that anyone, really, in any walk of life can apply. Let's dive into the first one.
Indeed. This is where Goggins moves from just inspiration to genuine instruction. And these three lessons are deeply intertwined. Each one reinforces and amplifies the others in this continuous process of building mental resilience.
Okay, so lesson one, the accountability mirror. Tell us about this practice. It sounds incredibly simple, maybe deceptively so.
The concept is strikingly simple, yeah. Yet its psychological impact is extraordinarily powerful, even brutal, you could say. Goggins describes this practice of standing in front of a mirror, often first thing in the morning while shaving, maybe, and speaking the raw, uncomfortable, unvarnished truth to yourself. It's about looking directly into your own eyes and confronting your reality without any filter, any excuse, any self-deception whatsoever.
Why? What's the core purpose?
The why behind it is absolutely crucial. Goggins adamantly refused to blame external factors for his situation. He didn't point fingers at his abusive father or systemic racism he faced or just bad luck, no. Instead, he ruthlessly focused solely on personal responsibility and internal change.
Total ownership.
Total ownership. He would look at his overweight self, his face still round and puffy from years of poor choices, and acknowledge out loud, I am this fat person because of me. I'm still working this miserable pest control job because of me.
Wow.
He vividly realized that if he continued on his current trajectory, just passively accepting his fate, he would essentially live and die like a bug, just like the ones he was exterminating every night. This stark, unflinching realization, delivered to himself in his own reflection, was the painful but essential fuel for his decision to dramatically change his weight and his entire life. It's about stripping away all the comforting lies we tell ourselves.
That's incredibly brave and, frankly, terrifyingly unflinching. It forces you to confront your deepest, most uncomfortable truths without any escape hatch. So, okay, what does this all mean for you? For the listener sitting there, maybe reflecting on their own challenges, Goggins actually challenges us to try this, right, for just 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you stand before that mirror, Goggins encourages you to ask yourself some profoundly uncomfortable but absolutely necessary questions. He asks, do you feel sorry for yourself, even subtly? Are you truly, genuinely happy where you are right now? And if not, why not?
Tough questions.
Really tough. Are you blaming others, your boss, your partner, your circumstances, your past for your current situation? Are you actively taking concrete action to change, or are you just wishing things were different, kind of hoping for a magical solution? Are you operating from a victim mentality, or are you ready to take radical responsibility and initiate change? And the crucial caveat here, the absolute non-negotiable, is this: do not lie to yourself. And under no circumstances blame others. The entire transformative exercise hinges on taking radical, unadulterated personal accountability.
Right.
This isn't about self-criticism in a negative, self-defeating way. It's about fostering profound self-awareness and personal empowerment, recognizing your inherent agency to change your circumstances, regardless of your starting point. It's really about owning your narrative.
Powerful stuff. It really boils down to honesty, doesn't it? Pure and simple. Okay, moving on to lesson 2, the 40% rule. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, because Goggins believes we all possess this immense, largely untapped potential. But, he says, we routinely quit at around 40% of our actual capacity. That means most of us are operating at less than half of what we're truly capable of. Just think about that for a second. The sheer volume of potential we just leave on the table every day.
This concept is truly a game changer, I think, and it's backed by some fascinating insights into human psychology and physiology. Goggins uses the metaphor of a governor in a car engine.
Okay.
You know, this is a part designed to limit the vehicle's speed maybe to 100 miles per hour to prevent overheating, conserve fuel, reduce wear and tear, basic safety and efficiency.
Right.
But if you remove that governor, the car might easily reach 150 miles per hour, albeit with some added discomfort, increased risk, definitely more noise. Similarly, Goggins argues, our minds have a kind of governor. It's exquisitely designed to keep us within our comfort zones, stopping us far short of our real potential, often at just 10, 20, maybe 40% if we're lucky.
So it's a protective mechanism.
Exactly. This psychological governor is there to protect us from discomfort, from pain, from perceived failure, from the unknown. It's a survival mechanism, deep-seated. But in modern life, it often becomes a limitation mechanism. It holds us back. What's truly insightful here is how Goggins, perhaps instinctively at first, tapped into what neuroscientists and sports scientists actually call central governor theory, the idea that our brain actively modulates our physical and mental output to prevent catastrophic failure, often well before our actual physiological limit is reached. It's the brain saying no long before the body actually can't go any further.
Well, what makes Goggins' application of this rule even more profound, almost like a cruel twist of fate, is his unique physical disadvantage you mentioned earlier. He had a hole in his heart, right? An atrial septal defect, a condition he didn't even know about for a long time.
That's right.
This meant that his 100% capacity was already inherently less physiologically compromised compared to someone without that condition. Yet he pushed far beyond what even a normal, healthy person would consider their 100%. Think about that. He was physically disadvantaged from a fundamental cardiovascular standpoint and still achieved all of this. It's just a massive testament to overriding physical limitations with sheer mental will.
It's an absolutely staggering testament to the mind's power over the body, even a compromised one. Goggins' entire career, really from surviving multiple hell weeks with pneumonia and broken limbs, to completing ultramarathons with fractured bones, severe vomiting, debilitating diarrhea, other bodily fluids literally escaping his body.
Yeah, the cheek and bricks.
Exactly. As he graphically described during his 100-mile qualifier, it's all concrete, brutal evidence of pushing past the mind's governor. He forced his body through sheer willpower and relentless conditioning to go far beyond what any rational person would deem possible or even survivable. He basically conditioned his mind to override the screaming primal signals from his body to redefine what his personal 100% truly meant.
That sounds absolutely brutal, though, almost like an act of self-flagellation, and definitely not for everyone. So what does this mean for you, the listener? You don't have to sign up for a 100-mile race tomorrow or, volunteer for Hell Week to apply the 40% rule. How can we, in our everyday lives, incrementally push past our own perceived 40%?
Exactly. The application is incremental. And it's about conscious awareness. If you can comfortably do, say, 25 push-ups, Goggins would challenge you, try 35. Push until it really hurts. And then, after a short disciplined rest, do another 10. Then rest again and do yet another 10. The goal is to continuously push slightly beyond your perceived limit, to consciously feel that discomfort and choose to keep going just a little bit further.
So it applies to anything.
Anything. If you typically study for an hour, try 70 minutes next time. If you usually respond to emails for 30 minutes before getting distracted, try pushing for 40. It's about stretching your comfort zone deliberately, not shattering it in one single self-destructive act.
Right.
This isn't about extreme self-torture. It's about consistent, incremental challenge to expand your mental and physical bandwidth, to systematically show your internal governor that you are, in fact, capable of more. It's like deliberate practice for your willpower muscle.
Fascinating. It's really about redefining your normal little by little. Okay, and finally, lesson 3, the cookie jar method. This one sounds a bit more comforting after all that talk of pain and pushing limits.
It is, in a profound way, yeah. But it definitely has a warrior's twist. The concept actually originates from Goggins' difficult childhood. During those incredibly challenging times, his mom would sometimes give him cookies from a jar, a small, fleeting source of comfort in a pretty chaotic world.
Oh.
Goggins adapted this idea into an extraordinarily powerful psychological tool. A mental cookie jar.
Mental cookie jar.
Exactly. When he's faced with extreme, almost unbearable hardship, like during that 100-mile race, remember? 70 miles in, suffering temporary blindness, uncontrollable diarrhea, profuse bleeding, broken feet, bodily fluids, just uncontrollably escaping him.
Yeah, hard to forget.
In those moments, he taps into this deeply personal, meticulously cultivated mental archive of his past accomplishments, his past wins.
So he's basically reminding himself of his own strength when he needs it most.
Yeah.
Like a self-administered mental pep talk,
Yeah.
but rooted in actual achievement.
Precisely. During that desperate near-death moment in the 100-mile race, he didn't just remember that he had done hard things before. He recalled with vivid detail the feelings of triumph, the specific sensations of conquering fear and pain.
Ah, the feeling.
Yes. He thought about conquering his crippling fear of water, a phobia that nearly ended his SEAL training aspirations early on. He replayed the memory of completing Hell Week, not just a difficult training, but the most difficult training in the world. And the immense pride he felt internally declaring himself the baddest mother corfer on the planet. Recalling these past victories, these mental cookies, flooded him with renewed energy, conviction, and a potent sense of self-efficacy. He literally drew strength from his own personal history of overcoming seemingly insurmountable obstacles. It's a profound act of self-anchoring in moments of crisis.
That's brilliant. Seriously, a truly practical and incredibly powerful psychological tool. So how can our listeners build their own mental cookie jar? And maybe more importantly, how do they effectively tap into it when they really, really need it?
You can absolutely build your own mental cookie jar, too. And it's a vital practice for building resilience, I think. Fill it with memories of past successes, no matter how big or small they might seem on the surface.
Like what kind of things?
It could be a tough exam you aced back in school, a difficult workout you completed when you really wanted to quit halfway through, a long race you finished, even if you crawled across the line, a challenging project at work you delivered under pressure. Any moment, really, where you overcame a personal challenge and felt genuinely good and proud of yourself.
Okay.
And don't just list them. Elaborate on them in your mind or even write them down. What were the specific struggles? How did you feel when you pushed through? What was the actual outcome? That detail matters.
Got it. And then?
Crucially, when you feel like quitting, when that governor starts screaming at you to stop, mentally reach into that jar. Don't just recall the event. Actively relive the feelings. The triumph, the sense of accomplishment, the surge of confidence. Consciously draw energy from those past successes.
Use your own history against your current weakness.
Exactly. This is about leveraging your own history of resilience to overcome present obstacles. Proving to yourself in real time that you've done hard things before and you absolutely can do them again. It's a powerful internal narrative to combat doubt, fatigue, and that very natural human inclination to seek comfort. Outro.
Wow. What an incredible journey, truly, and an even more incredible and deeply challenging set of lessons we've unpacked. We've covered David Goggins' phenomenal story, haven't we? From the depths of a really traumatic childhood to becoming the self-proclaimed toughest man alive.
Quite a ride.
And through his journey, we've distilled his 3 core principles. The accountability mirror for that radical self-honesty, the 40% rule to relentlessly push beyond your perceived limits, and the cookie jar method to strategically draw strength from your past victories when you need it most.
Yeah, 3 powerful tools.
You've now got, hopefully, an invaluable shortcut to understanding the mindset of one of the most resilient people on the planet. It really seems to boil down to brutal honesty with yourself, courageously pushing your perceived limits, and intelligently remembering your wins when the chips are really down. We genuinely hope this deep dive into the insights from Can't Hurt Me inspires you in some way.
If we connect this all to the bigger picture, Goggins' journey offers, I think, a really profound lesson. True strength isn't just about physical power or, raw talent. It's about the courageous acceptance of our past, the relentless pursuit of our often untapped potential, and the strategic recall of our triumphs.
Well said.
His life is really a living, breathing testament to the idea that our biggest limitations are often self-imposed, residing not necessarily in our bodies or external circumstances, but deep within the stories we tell ourselves inside our own minds. So the provocative question for you, our listener, as you go about your day is this. What stories are you currently telling yourself about your own limits? And what incredible, hard-won victories are already sitting there in your cookie jar, just waiting to be discovered and leveraged in your next challenge?
Meaningful.
Thank you so much for sticking with us through this whole deep dive.
And if you found this deep dive helpful, please do support our channel, The BookMind.
Yeah, please like this, share it with someone who might need it, and definitely subscribe for more insightful content in these deep dive conversations.
And don't forget to hit that notification bell. That way you won't miss our latest updates.